Incredible moment revealed, little girl's heartwarming plea to save her brother's touches K-9 hero. Lily was anything but ordinary. She was a bold, spirited 8-year-old with a heart that beat with the rhythm of fairy tales and dreams that soared higher than the clouds. In her modest suburban home, her laughter rang like music, echoing through the little corners of a community that felt strained under the weight of economic inequality. Her father, a dedicated worker, put in long hours at 2 jobs, always coming home with tired eyes but a heart full of love. Her mother, once vibrant and full of life, now fought a debilitating illness that threatened to dim their family's light. One sunny afternoon, this tight-knit community sprouted with the joyous sounds of children playing in the park. Laughter filled the air, a symphony of happiness that drowned out the sadness creeping into their lives. But just as the sun reached its peak, dark clouds unexpectedly rolled in, a fierce thunderstorm brewing on the horizon. In moments, the sky cracked with thunder, and raindrops began to pelt the ground like a million tiny drumbeats. Children scattered, their shrieks of panic swirling in the wind as they sought safety from the storm. Among the chaos, Lily's heart raced. She turned around only to find that her 2 younger brothers had disappeared in the whirlwind of confusion. A tightness gripped her chest. "Jack! Leo," she called, her voice barely carrying over the roar of the wind. Determination surged within her, each heartbeat sinking with urgency. She had to find them. Frantically, Lily spotted Officer Mark and his loyal K-9 companion, Duke, standing watch. With courage igniting her small frame, she approached the officer, her blue eyes shimmering with fear yet hope. "Please help me. I can't find my brothers." The innocence and sincerity in her voice were enough to hit the gut of those who overheard. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. An electric wave of compassion rippled through the nearby crowd as Officer Mark knelt down, making eye contact with the little girl. "We'll find them, don't worry," he assured her, but as murmurs danced through the crowd, rippling tension began to form. Whispers about Lily's family emerged, casting unfair shadows over their plea for help. Just when it appeared that a divide was brewing within the community, a local veteran stepped forward. With wise, kind eyes and an understanding forged from hardship, he told everyone about his own struggles. "We can't judge a family by their circumstances," he implored, reminding them of the dignity and resilience necessary for survival. As the storm raged outside, hearts began to soften, and something beautiful unfolded amidst the chaos. Together, the community banded in search of Lily's lost brothers, united by empathy, driven to bridge societal divides that ugliness had forged. But just as hope shimmered on the horizon, another storm began to brew, a storm of judgment and division, threatening to unravel the fragile unity they had forged. The question hung in the air, heavy and unresolved: what truly defines worth in a community, merit or circumstances? With every clap of thunder, they braced for a revelation that would challenge everything they thought they knew. Would they find her brothers before it was too late? And could forgiveness mend the wounds of misunderstanding threatening to tear them apart? The rain poured harder, its intensity blurring the vision of the crowd gathered in the park. Officer Mark shouted orders, his voice authoritative yet calm, as he rallied volunteers. "We need everyone to fan out. Stay close to each other." Duke, standing beside him, seemed to sense the tension. His ears perked up, ready to spring into action. Lily watched in awe as the grown-ups leaped into mission mode. Hope mixed with fear within her young heart. What if we don't find them? The worry threatened to swallow her, but she pushed the thought aside. She couldn't falter now. "Let's go, buddy," Officer Mark said with a reassuring pat on Duke's head. The K-9 sprang into action, racing off into the wild wind and rain. Lily felt a rush of adrenaline. It was as if Duke's determination was transfusing her with courage. Suddenly, she wasn't just a scared little girl anymore. She was part of a bigger team working to bring her brothers back. As the volunteers split into groups, Lily spotted a few familiar faces. Mrs. Thompson from down the street, her neighbor Mr. Graham who always helped her dad with the car, and even older kids from her school joined in the search. There was a palpable energy, a surge of collective spirit ignited by desperation but fueled by hope. The whispers of doubt started to fade as everyone began calling out Jack S. and Leo S. names, their voices intertwined in a chorus of concern. Minutes felt like hours as they combed through the rows of empty swings and slide structures slick with rain. Families who had once been divided by their economic struggles were now united, working tirelessly for Lily. The initial judgments from moments before evaporated like the storm clouds drifting away in the sky. "Look over here," Mrs. Thompson shouted. A glimmer of yellow amongst the puddles caught her eye. It was one of Jack's rain boots. Lily's heart surged with a wild blend of hope and fear. "That way." Lily pointed adamantly, her little feet racing toward the boot, calling out to anyone who would listen. It felt surreal, the reality folding around them like the heavy clouds above. Duke was already off, following the faint, lingering scent of the boys. Officer Mark followed closely, his subdued confidence seeming to guide the way. Every step felt like a panicked leap of faith, each footfall louder than thunder. Tension crackled in the air, every raindrop a reminder of the urgency that surged through Lily's veins. Would they really find them? She couldn't bear to think of losing them, not her brothers. Suddenly, a loud voice burst through the rumble of the storm. "I found them." A teenaged boy stumbled out from behind a dense thicket, eyes wide with shock. He pointed toward a small clearing. "Jack! Leo!" Lily screamed, her breath catching in her throat. She took off toward the boy, her heart racing in tandem with her footsteps. As the group converged and pushed through the shrubbery, the sight that met them was staggering. Jack and Leo were huddled together, both drenched but safe, their expressions a mix of relief and exhaustion. Lily rushed to them, engulfing both in her small arms. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she held them close, laughter bubbling up uncontrollably, blending with the sounds of raindrops hitting leaves. The storm could rage on, but they were together. Yet amidst the joyous reunion, a silent tension loomed over them. A palpable realization hit Lily as she glanced around at the gathered crowd. Words that had once left wounds now transformed into warmth. Could something like this truly heal the fractures among them? In that moment, surrounded by mud, rain, and love, a new question arose: what kind of community would they choose to be when the storm passed? Would old judgments give way to a new understanding? A subtle murmur began to ripple through the crowd, time stretching before them like an unpaved road. As hope fought against the remnants of doubt, they now stood at a precipice of change. What would they find when the skies finally cleared? Lily squeezed her brothers tighter, relief flooding her senses. The rain continued to pour, but she didn't mind. She could hear the murmurs of the crowd behind her, filled with mixed emotions: joy, gratitude, and an undercurrent of weariness. But in this moment, all she felt was the warmth of her family. "Are you both okay?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Jack looked down at her, his blue eyes shimmering like the sky clearing above. "We're fine, Lil. Just scared," he replied, ruffling her wet hair. Leo nodded in agreement, his face pale but slowly lighting up with a smile. From their spot, the sounds of community began to rise and fall like a wave. People were cheering, some crying tears of relief, while others hugged or clapped each other on the back. In the chaos, Duke returned, panting but proud, a visible reminder that they weren't alone in the search. Officer Mark, alongside him, wore a smile stretched wide across his face, affirming the bond that had grown between them all. Yet Lily couldn't shake the thought from her mind. What did this really mean? There were still fractures in her neighborhood, the differences in their lives that lingered like the storm clouds overhead. She looked around at the faces that had once seemed so distant and estranged. Now, they looked every bit a part of her new family. Lily. Mr. Graham approached her with a soft smile. You did an amazing job directing everyone. Your courage helped pull us together. His words filled her with warmth and a sense of belonging. But I was so scared, she admitted, her voice tiny amidst the celebratory noise. That's understandable, he said, kneeling to her level. But it's okay to be scared. What matters is that you didn't let fear win. You rallied everyone. You brought us together. Lily felt her heart flutter. Could her small act really yield such wonderful change? She glanced over at Jack and Leo, both grinning, safe and sound. The storm inside her slowly settled as hope began to blossom. Maybe this was the beginning. As people began to disperse into quieter clusters, sharing tales of bravery and teamwork, a sense of unease nestled within her. This renewal felt fragile, like the calm after the storm. Could they hold on to this unity? Would tomorrow sweep it all away, as rain-filled days so often did? Guys, we need to do something, she said to Jack and Leo, determination filling her voice. We can't just go back to how it was before. We need to keep talking, keep working together. But what do we do? Jack asked, furrowing his brow. I don't know, Lily said, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. But we can start by inviting everyone to our house for something fun. A barbecue or game, something where we can all just be together. It'll be a way to keep this going. Leo's face lit up with excitement. Yeah. We could do a talent show or something. Everyone can bring their favorite dish. That sounds amazing. But we need help. Lily trailed off, overwhelmed again by the prospect. As the evening wore on, the excitement for her idea sparked within her, but the enormity of it gripped her heart. Could they really transform their community? Lily. Officer Mark called, waving her over. We need to talk about your idea. I think we could make it happen. The prospect of discussion ignited something within her, a mix of fear and hope. They were all standing on the edge of change. The storm might have passed, but a new journey was just beginning. As she walked towards Officer Mark, a curious anticipation bubbled inside her. What new challenges and connections lay ahead for her, her brothers, and their community? Only time would unveil the answers. The possibilities hung thick in the air like the scent of rain-soaked earth, inviting and uncertain. Lily approached Officer Mark, her heart racing. She felt a warm rush of gratitude and nervousness at the same time. As he leaned in closer, she could see the sincerity in his eyes. Hey, Lily, he said, his tone encouraging. I think your idea is not just good, it's important. People are looking for a reason to come together. A barbecue sounds perfect. It'll give everyone a chance to breathe and connect. Really? You think so? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Absolutely. We can help with organizing, and I know some volunteers who would love to pitch in, he assured her, grinning ear to ear. With his words, a wave of hope washed over her. Maybe she wasn't just this scared little girl anymore. Maybe she could be a leader, even in the face of uncertainty. What can I do? Jack chimed in, starry-eyed. The enthusiasm in his voice sparked a fire within Lily. We'll need to figure out where to host it and what food everyone can bring. I'll make a list of supplies, Lily suggested, her confidence growing. Count me in. I'll help, Leo added, bouncing on his toes, his pale face finally full of color. They gathered around a picnic table in the park, the air filled with the scent of wet grass and adventure. Officer Mark jotted down ideas, and soon the plans began to take shape. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the community, Lily felt her soul tethering to something larger. She looked across the park filled with people laughing and talking. Many of the same faces she used to avoid were now full of potential new connections. Suddenly, Lily's gaze landed on Mrs. Henderson, an elderly woman who lived 2 blocks away. She had always been a bit gruff and guarded, keeping to herself. But there she was, chaotically weaving through clusters of people, helping carry supplies with a young boy at her side. "Look, we should definitely invite Mrs. Henderson," Lily remarked, her mind buzzing with ideas. Jack frowned slightly. "You think she'd come?" "Why not? We just need to show her that she's welcome. Maybe she could bring her famous apple pie." Officer Mark chuckled. "I bet she'd appreciate that. I'll make sure to check in with her later." As plans swirled around them, a warm breeze picked up, rustling leaves and carrying laughter through the air. The colors of the sunset painted a hopeful backdrop. That fragile feeling of unity began to stabilize in Lily's heart, but then the weight of reality pressed in on her again. What if they started this togetherness and it fell apart? What if people didn't show up, or if old tensions resurfaced? "Hey," Jack said, sensing her unease. "You okay, Lil?" "Yeah." She paused, uncertainty creeping into her words. "I just want it to work. I want everyone to feel like we're a part of something good. I don't want this to just be a one-time thing." "I get it," Leo said softly. "But we can't control everything. We can only do our best. And you're doing great." His words were a balm, soothing her anxious thoughts. What might be in store for them? She glanced at her brothers, heart swelling with gratitude and the anticipation of their upcoming event. As she turned her head to watch the moon rising, casting a silvery glow over the park, she knew deep down this was just the beginning of their journey. But just how fast could things change? And with that question lingering in her mind, she felt the winds of change suddenly pick up like a tuning fork strumming within her. Tomorrow was going to bring challenges, but maybe, just maybe, they could face them together. The next morning dawned bright and clear, the sun rising like a golden promise over the sleepy town. Lily woke with a sense of purpose coursing through her, but it was tethered to an incessant flutter of nerves. Today was the day they would start inviting everyone to the barbecue. As she sat up in bed, she practiced her words silently, shaping them like clay in her mind. "Hi, Mrs. Henderson. We're having a barbecue, and we'd love for you to come." It seemed simple enough, but every time she rehearsed, doubt gnawed at her. Her heart echoed the need for acceptance, and she wondered if Mrs. Henderson would even want to be a part of their new connections. After a quick breakfast, she gathered Jack and Leo. "Let's get started," she declared, feeling their half-sleepy energy pulsate into her. They grabbed their bikes, excitement bubbling over as they pedaled down familiar streets. The autumn air felt crisp against Lily's face, instilling a renewed sense of vigor. "First stop, Mrs. Henderson," Lily announced, her voice steadying with determination. They reached the elderly woman's house, and Lily slowed her breath as they approached the door. The porch was slightly cluttered with plant pots and a few old gardening tools, all blooming with charm and a hint of neglect. A soft sound came from within, maybe the radio, or perhaps a muted voice lost in thought. With a tap, she knocked. The noise felt deafening in the silence surrounding them. Seconds ticked by, an eternity filled with her racing heartbeats. Just when she thought of leaving, the door creaked open to reveal Mrs. Henderson, looking slightly startled yet intrigued. "Good morning, Mrs. Henderson," Lily said, her voice coming out a bit too loud, as if to cover her growing anxiety. "We're organizing a community barbecue and would love for you to join us." The woman's face softened, but she hesitated, her brow furrowing slightly. "A barbecue, you say? I don't know, I've never been one for gatherings." "But we want everyone to feel welcome," Lily pressed gently. "It would mean a lot to us, and I bet you could bring that amazing apple pie we keep hearing about," she added with a hopeful smile, feeling her heart pound against her chest. Mrs. Henderson's expression flickered between doubt and intrigue. "An apple pie, you say?" "Yes. Everyone thinks it's the best." For a moment, Lily held her breath, the outcome hanging precariously in the air between them. Finally, the corners of Mrs. Henderson's lips turned up ever so slightly. "Well, perhaps I could consider it, but only if you promise to keep the noise down. I have a soft spot for my peace and quiet, you know." Despite the weight of unspoken fears lingering in the back of Lily's mind, she felt lighter. "Of course. We want everyone to feel comfortable." "All right, then." Mrs. Henderson's smile grew, and while it wasn't the wide grin of a friendship yet, it was a flicker of possibility ignited. As they pedaled away, Jack glanced back at Lily, his face bright with enthusiasm. "That went really well. I think she'll come." "Yeah," she breathed out, a mix of relief and victory washing over her. They cruised toward the next house, buoyed by the small triumph, but doubt began creeping back in, settling like a weight on her shoulders. What if the others didn't share Mrs. Henderson's positive response? What if the barriers of distrust and loneliness were too strong to overcome? "Lily, stop worrying," Leo said out of nowhere, giving her a nudge. "It's going to be fine. We're doing this together." As they rode through the brightening streets, Lily pondered what lay ahead. How would she face the field of uncertainty, the ripple effects of her ambitions? Their next stop was the heart of the neighborhood, an unpredictable blend of personalities. Little did she know the mountains of transformation, both personal and communal, were on the horizon. Would she have the courage to confront each one as they emerged? As the sun rose higher, illuminating their pathway, one undeniable thought filled her: this was just the beginning, and she was ready to dive into whatever came next. They rode on, pedaling with purpose as the sun climbed higher, casting a warm, golden light over the neighborhood. Lily felt a new rhythm forming in her chest, a mix of hope and a fluttering dread. Who would they meet next? What would they say? "Let us go to Mr. Thompson's next," she said, recalling the grumpy old man who lived 2 blocks away. Would he even pick up the invitation? He often grumbled about the kids making too much noise. Still, she felt a spark of determination. As they approached Mr. Thompson's house, the children's laughter echoed softly through the air, dulled by the old man's reputation. The gray paint on his picket fence flaked under the sun, and a tangle of weeds crept up the path to his door. "Lily, do we have to?" Jack muttered, glancing at the house. "Yes, not nice," he added quietly, almost as if afraid of being overheard. "It's important," she replied. "People can surprise you if you give them a chance." Taking a deep breath, she knocked on the door, bracing herself. 2 heartbeats passed before the door swung open with a creak, revealing Mr. Thompson, graying hair poking out from beneath a faded cap. His sharp gaze softened at the sight of the 3 kids. "What do you want?" he grumbled, suspicion mingling with curiosity. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson. We're organizing a barbecue and would love for you to come," Lily said, attempting a cheerful smile despite the apprehension rising inside her. "A barbecue?" he echoed, eyebrows arching high. "Why would I want to spend a Saturday with a bunch of raucous kids?" Lily felt a lump rise in her throat. "It's not just about the noise. It's a chance for everyone to meet, share stories, and maybe have some fun." She hesitated, then added, "Even if you don't like gatherings, we'd love to share the food and friendship." His expression shifted slightly, but the weight of his years hung heavily around him, making him reluctant to believe her. "What about the dogs?" Mr. Thompson said, unexpectedly. "I can't stand noisy mutts barking all day." Leonard, trying to ease the atmosphere, added, "We'll keep it quiet. And there's always room for everyone, dog and person alike." A moment of silence stretched, and Lily examined the lines on Mr. Thompson's face, searching for a softening in his resolve. "All right," he said finally, though he sounded far from enthusiastic. "But I want to be your entertainment, understand?" "Of course, Mr. Thompson." Lily beamed, relief washing over her. They exchanged some quick words before saying goodbye, and as they walked back to their bikes, she couldn't help but smile. "See? You did it again," Jack exclaimed, his voice brightening the mood. 2 down. Yeah, but what about Mrs. Janeway? She's a tough one, Lily said, feeling a new jolt of unease at the thought of confronting the reclusive widow who rarely came out of her house. The breeze picked up, swirling golden leaves around them as they cycled towards the next stop. With each turn of the pedals, determination forged a path in her heart. But doubt taunted her from the shadows, whispering fears of rejection and lingering sadness. Lily, you're brave, Leo said, glancing at her with a reassuring smile. Even if people say no, you're still trying. That matters. They arrived at Mrs. Janeway's house, where the curtains were drawn tight, and everything felt cloaked in a heavy silence. As she approached the door, her heart raced. Would she be brave enough to knock, to let hope fill that quiet space? What if this barrier was too high to climb? Gathering her courage, she raised her hand to knock, but not before saying a silent prayer. Would Mrs. Janeway answer, or would the door remain closed, leaving her to wonder? Each moment stretched, as Lily tried to steady her breathing. Behind her lay newfound courage, ahead loomed another possible rejection. What awaited her on the other side of that door? Lily stood in front of Mrs. Janeway's door, heart pounding like a drum. She could hear the distant chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves in the wind, but the sound of her own heartbeat drowned everything else out. She raised her hand, hovering for just a moment. What if Mrs. Janeway said no? What if she just grunted and slammed the door? But she remembered Mr. Thompson's hesitant acceptance. Maybe this would be different. With a deep breath, she knocked. The sound echoed, followed by silence that seemed to stretch on forever. She was about to turn away when she heard a shuffle from inside. The door creaked open, revealing Mrs. Janeway's tired eyes. They were framed by years of care and sorrow, but there was a flicker of curiosity too. What do you want? Her voice was softer than Lily expected, almost weary. Mrs. Janeway? Hi. I'm Lily, and this is Jack and Leo. She gestured to her friends, who were shifting nervously. We're having a barbecue this Saturday and wanted to invite you. The older woman raised an eyebrow, crossing her arms. A barbecue? With all the noise? Why would I want to be part of that? But, Lily pressed on, it's not just about the food. We want to connect with everyone in the neighborhood. Share good times. You could share stories with us too. You have so many interesting things in your garden. Mrs. Janeway's gaze drifted to the flowers peeking from her neatly kept yard, then returned to Lily as if weighing what to say next. They're just flowers. And kids these days don't care about stories or gardens. But we do. Jack piped up, stepping forward, his voice steady. I think your garden is beautiful. Maybe you could grow something special at the barbecue? Something from your flowers? There was a pause, and Lily watched as Mrs. Janeway's face softened ever so slightly. Instead of irritation, there was a hint of longing. What would a bunch of kids know about appreciating flowers? We know enough, Leo said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. You could tell us what makes them special. We'd love to help you. Lily watched carefully as Mrs. Janeway's defenses slowly crumbled. She glanced at the door frame, then back at the children. You really want me there? Lily nodded eagerly, her heart swelling with hope. Yes. Plus, maybe you'll find it's not as noisy as you think. And you can bring your favorite dessert. A great silence fell, hanging heavily in the air. Finally, Mrs. Janeway sighed, clearly fighting her own inner conflict. Fine, I'll think about it. But don't expect me to babysit you or the other kids. We'd just love to have you, Lily said, unable to hide her smile as she took a step back, her heart lighter. As they made their way back to their bikes, Jack looked at her with admiration. 3 down. You really are amazing. I'm just inviting them, Lily replied, feeling shy. But inside, a growing warmth filled her, a sense of accomplishment. Who's next, then? Leo asked, glancing at the sky, which was now beginning to cloud over. "I was thinking of the Andersons," Lily said, her mood faltering a bit. "But I heard Mrs. Anderson hasn't been well." The thought struck her like cold water. What if they were too scared to invite them? "Should we still go?" Jack asked, concern edging his features. "Yes," Lily decided, feeling the familiar stir of determination. "If we're hoping for a barbecue, we can't leave anyone out. They might need some kindness, too." Yet as they rode away, the clouds began to thicken overhead, and doubt crept back in. Would the Andersons be receptive? And what if they were dealing with something too heavy to share? With questions swirling in her mind along with the wind, they headed towards their next destination, but what awaited them there felt heavier than the growing darkness in the sky. Would they find hope or heartbreak at the Andersons' door? As they approached the Andersons' house, the sky darkened like a somber curtain. The children parked their bikes on the sidewalk, their excitement replaced by a heavy uncertainty. A slight breeze danced around them, rustling the leaves as if nature itself was holding its breath. Lily glanced at Jack and Leo, their expressions mirroring her own blend of anticipation and anxiety. "Do you think they're in? What if they're not feeling well?" she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Jack shrugged, his brow furrowed. "We'll never know if we don't try. We owe it to them." Lily nodded, the warmth of her earlier confidence wavering yet refusing to disappear entirely. Taking a deep breath, she approached the door, her heart once again thumping loudly in her chest. She reached out and knocked 3 firm raps followed by silence. Moments passed. Just when she thought they might retreat, the door creaked open. Mrs. Anderson stood there, her face pale and tired. She looked like the very embodiment of weariness, but something sparkled in her eyes, maybe a glint of hope, or simply surprise at seeing the trio. "Lily, Jack, Leo, what brings you here?" Her voice was soft but laced with concern. "Hi, Mrs. Anderson." Lily spoke quickly, her words tumbling over each other. "We're having a barbecue this Saturday, and we wanted to invite you and Mr. Anderson. We thought it might be nice to get together." The briefest smile flickered across Mrs. Anderson's face before it waned again. "Oh, that's very kind of you, but with everything going on, I'm not sure we can." Lily felt a twist in her stomach. "But it could be fun. Just a little time away from everything. You know, fresh air, good food, and the kids. It might be a lot for you," Jack interjected gently, stepping forward with sincerity. "But we'd really love to have you both. And we can help out with anything you need, like setting up, or even bringing you dessert." Mrs. Anderson glanced down for a moment, her eyes shimmering as if battling tears. "You kids are sweet, but I don't want to bring more noise or trouble into your lives. My husband is." She paused, taking a shaky breath. "He's not been himself lately." Lily, realizing now how frightened Mrs. Anderson must be, felt an overwhelming surge of compassion. "We all have tough times, but that doesn't mean we can't come together," she said softly. "Maybe this little barbecue can be a spark of joy for everyone." "I don't see how," Mrs. Anderson began, but something in Lily's looming determination stopped her. "Please." Lily's voice rang with a heartfelt urgency. "Let us show you. It might be just what you need." A moment of silence lingered in the air, with Mrs. Anderson's gaze darting between the children and the ground. The tension was palpable, like a tightrope stretched at its limit. Finally, she opened the door wider, her shoulders slumping slightly as if loosening a great weight. "Okay, I'll discuss it with him. It doesn't hurt to think about it." Lily's heart soared, it felt like a soft light piercing through dark clouds. "Really? Thank you. Just let us know, okay?" Mrs. Anderson's face softened into a weak smile. "I will. You kids truly have good hearts." As they stepped away from the door, a sense of weight lifted from Lily's chest. They had done it, 2 families invited, each unveiling their stories and challenges. Still, a thought nagged at the edge of her mind. What if Mr. Anderson's response was not what they hoped? The sky overhead threatened rain, but for the moment, the atmosphere seemed brighter. That went well. Leo chirped, nudging Lily. Yeah, but I keep wondering what if they really don't come? What if all this doesn't change anything? Lily admitted quietly as they made their way back to their bikes. Jack put a hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens, we're doing the right thing. As they rode back, the faint scent of rain wafted through the air, a reminder that storms can bring cleansing. But would the Andersons let themselves embrace any light that was coming? Would their small gesture evolve into more? The house loomed behind them, a question mark of uncertainty. And just as they turned the corner onto the main road, Lily caught the first drop of rain on her cheek. It felt like a promise, a hint of change on the horizon. Would the storm that followed bring clarity, or would it drown their hopes before they even had a chance to blossom? The rain began to fall softly, tapping against the pavement in a rhythm that matched Lily's quickening heartbeat. She glanced over at Jack and Leo as they pedaled harder, eager to escape the tiny droplets that seemed to threaten their excitement. Yet, the rain felt different, almost cleansing, like a gentle reminder that change was always just around the corner. Back at the park, the trio parked their bikes and sprinted toward the swings, laughter escaping from their lips like a buoy against uncertainty. For a moment, the cares of the world faded away, replaced by the familiar joy of play. But even amidst the light-hearted banter, Lily couldn't shake the lingering worry about the Andersons. Jack took a seat on the swing beside her, a thoughtful expression etched across his face. "You think Mr. Anderson will want to come?" he asked, kicking his legs to gain momentum. Lily shrugged, her eyes casting down to the ground. "I just hope Mrs. Anderson can convince him. It might be the only thing that brings some light back into their lives." Or, Leo chimed in from the swing next to them, "Maybe they're scared to join us. What if they just don't want to face everyone?" Lily nodded. The fear that gripped her friends might just grip the Andersons too. She felt a wave of determination rise again. "Then we have to show them that it's okay. We can be there for them, just like they've been for us." The idea took hold in her mind, as vibrant as the colors of the playground around them. She could envision setting up the barbecue, music playing, the delectable smell of burgers sizzling on the grill, and, most importantly, their families sharing laughter and stories. It was a simple dream, yet it bore so much significance. As the sky darkened further, the weight in her heart grew heavier. Without saying a word, she jumped off the swing. "Come on, I have an idea," she declared, her resolve solidifying. She led Jack and Leo toward the community center nearby, where families often gathered. "We can ask Mr. Henderson if he has heard from the Andersons," she said, feeling the urgency creep into her voice. "He might help us understand what they need." Jack and Leo exchanged puzzled glances before nodding. They followed her, the drumming rain echoing their determination. When they arrived at the community center, they were met with the faint chatter of families caught in their own worlds. Lily's heart raced but pushed forward, approaching Mr. Henderson, a warm, grandfatherly figure who was stacking chairs. He looked up and smiled, but concern quickly replaced it when he noticed the trio's serious expressions. "What has got you children so wound up?" he asked, drawing closer with genuine interest. "Mr. Henderson, do you know the Andersons?" "We just wanted to check in on them," Lily spoke, her voice firm yet caring. "We're having a barbecue and thought it might be nice for them to join us." Mr. Henderson's face softened. "Yes, I've known them for years. They've had a rough go lately, but I'm sure they'd appreciate the invitation if Mrs. Anderson shared it with Mr. Anderson." Nodding, Lily felt both encouraged and anxious. But what if he doesn't want to join? What if they don't feel up to it? "They might be hesitant, but it's simple kindness like yours that can start to heal things," Mr. Henderson replied, laying a compassionate hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes, it takes a nudge to find the courage to join back in." Lily felt a flicker of hope at his words. It was a reminder that sometimes, what they needed was just an open door. "Thank you. I guess we'll just have to make sure they know we'll be waiting for them, right?" As she turned to leave, an idea burst forth in her mind. What if we all wrote them notes? Little reminders of how much we care. Jack beamed at the suggestion, while Leo nodded enthusiastically. They couldn't just sit and wait now. They had an action plan, and it filled them with a new sense of purpose. Lily was buzzing with energy as they headed back out. Maybe we can have everyone at the park, make it a big gathering. The whole neighborhood can remind them they're not alone. The drizzle faded into a light mist, wrapping around them like a protective blanket as they dashed back home, excited whispers tumbling from their lips. But deep within her heart, a single question lingered: what if this time, their efforts were not enough? Unbeknownst to Lily, a figure watched from the shadows at the edge of the park, hesitating on the brink of connection. Would the Andersons take their chance to step out into the light? The sun had set, casting a warm glow over the park as the smell of grilled burgers wafted through the air. Lily stood at the entrance, her heart racing as families began to trickle in for the barbecue. Excitement mixed with anxiety coursing through her. She couldn't shake the thought: what if the Andersons didn't show up? Hey, look! Jack called out, pointing. Lily turned to see Mr. and Mrs. Anderson walking toward them, tentative yet curious. A wash of relief swept over her. They had come. The melange of hope and anxious energy she had felt all week ignited again. Lily rushed to greet them, her eyes sparkling. You made it. Thank you for coming. I guess we couldn't resist a good barbecue, Mr. Anderson replied, his voice gruff but warm. The community behind them swelled with warmth, laughter bubbling up and weaving through conversations like a melody. Mrs. Anderson had brought her award-winning chocolate cake, and everyone gathered around her to marvel at it. As the night wore on, it became a dance of stories and laughter. People who once walked by each other without so much as a smile now leaned in to share memories, bridging the divides that had existed for so long. Mrs. Henderson shared gardening tips, while Mr. Thompson broke into laughter during Jack's silly jokes. This is wonderful, isn't it? Leo beamed, grabbing a plate full of food. Even those who were wary are falling into it. Lily nodded, her heart swelling with pride. She couldn't help but steal glances at the Andersons, who were being drawn into the conversations around them. It felt like a ripple of healing energy was moving through the crowd, but as joy reigned, an uneasy thought nestled in her heart: could all this kindness truly reshape the community? As night deepened, the stars twinkled above, and Lily noticed Mrs. Anderson still lingering at the edge of the gathering. With a nerve of bravery, she made her way over. Hi, Mrs. Anderson. I'm really glad you came. Thank you, Lily, she replied, her smile brittle but genuine. It means a lot to see everyone together like this. Lily watched as the woman slowly relaxed, laughter trickling into her demeanor. We were all wondering where our friend had gone. You have a beautiful garden. I'd love to hear about your favorite flowers someday. Mrs. Anderson's eyes lit up just a bit. I'd like that too. It's nice to feel remembered. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from Jack's direction. The kids had begun a spontaneous talent show, and the infectious laughter swelled throughout the park. Amidst it, Lily saw the Andersons laughing along, sharing smiles and meaningful glances. Relief washed over her. The night stretched on, friendships blossoming right before their eyes. Old wounds seemed to thin, and the laughter that rose like bubbles in a soda was a sweet testament to the power of community. People crowded around the makeshift stage, sharing talents as they cheered each other on. As the last act finished, Lily stepped forward, heart pounding with pride. I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. We laughed together, shared stories, and made connections. This moment is precious. The crowd erupted into applause, filling her with vibrant energy. Let us keep this going. Let us transform today's bravery into tomorrow's foundation for friendship. We've already started something incredible. As cheers echoed back, she glanced at her brothers, Jack, with a proud grin, and Leo, radiating happiness as he jumped up to join the other kids. In that moment, Lily took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of possibility swirl around her. For the first time, she believed they could change their community. Perhaps this transformation could survive long after the last embers of the barbecue faded. As laughter filled the air, the idea of acceptance and unity intertwined around the hearts present, whispering a promise. Fear and doubt would always be there, but courage and love would blaze a path forward. As the stars twinkled, both in the sky and in her heart, Lily knew change couldn't be quick, but it could flourish slowly. Beautifully, together. If this story has touched your heart, don't wait any longer. You need to subscribe now to catch all the other exclusive stories coming up. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and let us spread this courage far and wide. Comment below with your feelings about this change, and don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Act fast. Every click helps build a community fueled by love and hope.